Hi and welcome to Online Appliance Tech. Today we're going to show you how to replace the motor on the basic dryer, Whirlpool dryer. So if your dryer looks like one of these and you're having a problem where it runs a little bit and then it makes a buzzing sound, then it cools down and it'll start again, or if the drum doesn't turn whatsoever, it could be your wheels or your motor. So once you take the machine apart, we can verify this. So in this case, we're going to start by unplugging the unit and remove the quarter bit screws off the back to remove the back panel. Sometimes you'll have 3 down the side. On this one you only have 2 on each side, but sometimes you'll have 3 on each side at the bottom. As you can see, this one doesn't. Once you do remove this panel, just don't rub your hand down the side of it because you can easily cut your hand. So just be very careful. Sorry for my speech. And wear some gloves if it makes it a little safer for you. So now removing the quarter bit screws, you're just going to take the panel and then put it somewhere safe. And like I stated, just make sure you do have it unplugged. You will have a nice little shock. So this is the back vent. This is where the blower wheel is. Sometimes you can actually have a dryer that will lock up because you have something stuck in the blower wheel. So sometimes that could be the case if you get lucky. So as you can see here, you have 4 quarter bit screws you do have to remove. And then at the top of the dryer, to remove this, you have to remove these 2 Phillips screws. Just when you do remove the Phillips, just make sure you hold them with your hand once you remove, because they can fall down into the air vent itself and then you have to go digging for it. So just make sure to take your time and hold them as you remove them. So now having the 2 Phillips removed, we're going to remove this back panel by just lifting up and then pulling the bottom out. Be careful because this is also sharp. There's a blower wheel. Sometimes you get something stuck in there like a pencil or so forth, which can also lock up the motor from turning. So if that's your problem, that's great. Just remove it, remove whatever's there and then put it back together. You should be good to go. In this case it was not, it was the motor, so put that somewhere safe. Just lift up on the dryer and just pull it out, wiggle it out. Wear gloves if you have to, and then we'll move to the next part. So let me see, we'll put it there. There we go. So this blower is actually welded onto the shaft of the motor, so you have to replace this when you replace the motor because you have to actually beat it off. So let's get inside of this thing. So you take a flathead and you just press in and press upwards, as you see there, and then you'll just disconnect the door switch. Fairly simple. And then you'll take a 5/16 to remove the 2 5/16 pits or screws on each side. So now you'll just lift straight up on the door. They're kind of clipped in at the bottom, so you'll just press down and lift up. Sometimes it's not as hard, but sometimes you have to get a little aggressive with it. And let me show you. So there's the little clips, and then they clip in here at the bottom of the door. So that's what holds the bottom of the door into place. So now we're going to remove the belt from the pulley. Let me get your flashlight here. There we go. So to remove this belt, you'll press back on the pulley and then remove it from the motor pulley, and then you'll just slide the belt right off, and then you'll just lift up on the drum and pull straight out. So right here, if you turn the motor pulley, it should be fairly simple to turn, as this one is. This is kind of an odd one. It would sometimes work, sometimes wouldn't. This was actually the winding, but if they're locked up and very hard to turn, usually it's caused by lint and so forth. That's why your motor is pulling an amp draw, so that's why you have to replace it. And you have the 2 wheels here that if they're hard to turn or just squealing or making some type of noises, you have to replace those. Here's the igniter. If it looks white, replace, and there's gas coils, flame sensor, and so forth. So let's get started with removing this blower wheel. So you have to take a flathead. I wish I actually had a bigger flathead than this one because it would have been way easier, but this is all I had. Take a sledge or a hammer. You have to start cutting down. Let me get a better light so you can see. So you have to actually start cutting down the side where it connects to the shaft of the motor. There's no way to just twist this off, so you have to actually cut down the side of it and pull it off, as you'll see here soon in the video. I will have to fast forward it. It did take me a good 20 minutes to get this off, but hey. So yeah, just start making a line down the middle of the blower wheel, and you'll see where the shaft connects. So as you can see here, it's about to come off. You can see the work I had to put into it, but you have little lines on the blower wheel which connects into the shaft itself. So you have to go on each corner and make sure you cut that plastic, the plastic that's welded to the motor shaft. So there we go. So this is kind of what you have to do. Definitely you'll work your patience sometimes. And see how that is welded on there. Not welded, but it's just not going to come off. So back inside, to remove the motor, you have two clips. You'll press down and pry up. If I had a wider flathead, it would definitely make it easier. I have a small one, so that doesn't help. So there we go. If it was a little wider, I would be ready to go. But hey, it worked. This one you can actually use your hand. So you press down and pull off, press off. Then you'll just turn the motor clockwise, or just take it out. Then you're going to remove your harness. So it has two clips. So you just pry and then lift up on the harness. There we go. Now we're in business. Okay, great. So just remove the old motor and then we'll install the new one. So here's the genuine motor. I recommend to only put genuine parts on your stuff. And here's a part number. I will leave this here in the description if you're interested. And this is the new one, so we'll just put it down. Let me see. So it goes there, the blue sets down into the support. We'll just call it support housing, and then you'll line it up with the top and you'll just turn it clockwise. But before we turn it clockwise, we want to connect our harness. Okay, now having the harness on, we'll just turn the motor counterclockwise, and then we're going to clip the two motor supports on. So you have a little clip here, and this clips to the housing of the dryer. You'll see it once you get to it, and then you'll press over with your thumb, and then you'll take your flathead and press down as you press down with your thumb to click it onto the clip on the left. So you'll take your flathead and press down and clip it in. Then the front, you don't need a flathead. You can actually use your thumb and press down like that. And it'll clip right in. There we go. So now we have to connect the blower wheel on the back. So to connect this blower wheel in the back, you actually have to put like a pair of pliers or something like this to grab the motor pulley because you don't want it to turn when you turn the blower wheel counterclockwise. So you just clip it on here, not hard, but just enough to hold it into place, because I don't want to warp the shaft. It's just enough to make it where it won't slide off the vice grips. So as you can see there, I'm playing with it enough just so where I know it's going to hit there. And then now, once I put the blower wheel on, it will not just keep on it won't keep on turning. So we'll put this on and we'll turn it not clockwise, it's actually counterclockwise. There we go, counterclockwise, and just gently turn it, and then once it's in the grooves, just turn it with your finger. So now we're going to snug it. So as you can see here, I'm snugging it, but I'm not being over aggressive with it, because then I can break it or slip and cut my hand open. So be careful there too also. So make sure it's nice and snug, and that's pretty much it. So then we'll go on the other side and just remove the vice grips. So we're going to put the motor pulley back into place. It has two grooves at the bottom and you lift up on it. So let's go ahead and install the drum. Just slide it back into place. So the same way you took it out, just slide it back in. And then what I'd like to do here is I actually like to line up the bottom felt with the two roller wheels first, and then turn it clockwise. And then we'll just reinstall the belt. When you install this belt, just make sure it is not twisted. So take a light and make sure it's not twisted before you connect it to the motor pulley itself. So let's connect this. So we adjust this pulley, we'll click it into the bottom housing of the dryer, and then we'll loop the belt under the pulley, and then we'll hook it to the motor pulley, but we'll press back with your hand to give it the tension to grab the motor pulley, if that makes sense. And we'll turn it, and there we go. That's how it works. Now, installing the door, sometimes it's better to have two or having someone help you, someone that can lift the top and then press the drum back. What I do is actually use my shoulder, that I lay it on my shoulder, and then I use my left hand to push the drum back, and then I use my right hand to align it with the bottom clips. Some are easy and some are a pain. So yeah, if you have another hand, definitely it helps, and a good flashlight. But you'll see you press up or you press it in, then you'll slide it down to those bottom clips. And now you're going to install your two 5/16 to hold the door to the housing of the dryer. So just snug those in. Then I'll use my shoulder to hold the top, and then just be very gentle. Don't drop the screw, because then you have to take the door off again. And then reconnect the door switch. So now we're going to reinstall this vent. So you'll lift up on the dryer with your right hand, and then you'll just slide it right into place. It can only go in one way. You have 4 1/4-bit screws that you have to line up and snug them. And right there's the thermal fuse on my right. Those are actually very common to go out. So if you're back here doing work, you might as well replace it. That way, it's like a preventive maintenance, I would say, because they're very common to go out. And last but least, you'll just reinstall the 1/4-bit screws that holds the back panel on. I like to do the top 2 first, but not snug too tight. That way I can adjust the back frame itself to line up the other screws. Okay, so now you just press the top of the jar down, click it into place, and then these two Phillips screws, just put them back in counterclockwise. Just make sure you hold the screw as you tighten them down, because the last thing you want to do is for that screw to fall down the vent, and then you have to take the back off, remove the vent again, and so forth. Just make sure you hold on to the Phillips screw as you tighten them up. And there we go. So I hope this video was helpful. If you could do me a favor and hit that like button, that'll help us out to get this video to others that we hopefully can help also. And then like and subscribe for more future tips and videos if you'd like to have us as a to-go-to channel. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.